Okay, I think we're just about ready. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another one of our practical digital marketing sessions. This week, we're going to talk about LinkedIn and how you can use LinkedIn for prospecting. Now, this is going to be about half an hour, this webinar this evening. So we're not going to cover a huge amount of detail, but hopefully you'll go away with some useful tips and ideas on how you can start finding prospects on LinkedIn and how you can connect with them, and so on. So we're going to jump straight in. Just in case you haven't been to one of our webinars before, my name is Russell Davis. I am the owner of Lobster Digital Marketing Limited. We've been building and promoting people's websites for over 12 years now. And in that time, we've learned a lot about how to find prospective customers and clients on social media. But these things have been changing at such a rapid pace over the last few years that it's been hard to keep up. So every now and then we like to put together some training material just to sort of help everyone catch up with where we are with social media and how you can use it to benefit your business. So that's what these practical digital marketing sessions are all about. And you're very welcome this evening to this one on LinkedIn prospecting. So tonight we're going to just cover why use LinkedIn, why is it useful for your business. We're going to look at your profile and what you can change on there, and how you can optimize it to make it the best it can be. We're going to look at how you search for prospects, and I'm going to show you some tricks for how you connect with potential prospects if you haven't got a LinkedIn premium account. So you don't need a premium account for this session today. We're going to keep it very simple, very basic, and anybody can follow the sort of tips and ideas that I'm going to present tonight. So let's get into LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn for prospecting? Well, it's not the most popular social media platform around, but in terms of business, it very much is. It's 414 million users, 15 million users in the UK, 200 odd countries represented on the site. But the important thing is that it's a professionals social media platform. 1 in 3 professionals has a profile. They have more journalists than any other type of professional on there, and that's an important thing. I'm going to explain why that's important later. But 49% of users are key decision makers. So if you are using LinkedIn for prospecting for business, then it's a great place to start, because, like it says there, half of all the users on LinkedIn are the actual decision makers that you need to speak to anyway. If you think about traditional prospecting, especially in the B2B arena, that usually entails collecting contact data, so buying expensive lists of addresses or phone numbers, or if you can get it, email addresses, direct mailing those contacts, which is expensive, especially in the UK, or cold calling. And we all know cold calling is it obviously works because people just keep doing it, but it must be the most awful thing to have to sit on a phone and make hundreds of calls every day. And I get a lot of cold calls, particularly from people looking to sell me utilities like electricity and so on. And I get a lot of phone calls from recruitment agents. And to be honest, they interrupt my day and they get in the way, and it's very annoying when they make the calls. I had one last week from a company trying to sell me promotional material. I won't say who they are, but the guy wouldn't let up. I told him I wasn't going to buy what he was selling, but he just kept on, just repeating his same line or just working from his script, and it just really frustrates me, and it must frustrate him as well. So it's not a nice way to do business. Using prospecting for clients using social media is a lot easier to do. It's a lot less intrusive to the prospects day. You can find the people that you want and be more targeted. You can respond to people's requests for questions about the sort of things that they're selling. So if they're selling a particular service or product, then if you set your social media up correctly, then you can listen out for those key questions and those messages, and you can respond to them. So you straight away are you're getting past the gatekeeper, and you're talking to the person that wants to buy your products and services. So it just makes things a lot more easy, and also you're responding to them rather than trying to cold call and sell them what you've got, in the hope that they're going to your patter and your script can actually turn them into a customer. LinkedIn is great for B2B lead development, obviously, because that's where all the professionals are. But it also, has a lot of facilities that are useful, like groups. You can join groups, and you can start conversations, and you can respond to people's questions on groups. You can post long form blog posts, so you can write longer posts about your subject, so you can prove that you are an expert in your subject, in your arena. And that's great. You've got to demonstrate your expertise, because when people look at your profile, when they connect to you on LinkedIn, they look at your profile, they want to see that you know what you're talking about. The issue there about journalists is really important, because apparently 94.2% of all the journalists are on LinkedIn, and that's important, because if you want to really truly demonstrate yourself as an expert in your field, then there's no better way of doing that than getting yourself published in magazines or in online blog posts or articles and so on and so journalists are a great connection type to go for, because if you can connect with them and you can prove to them that you are an expert in your field, then they will seek you out for comment on blog posts and comment on articles and so on. So, and you can also reach out to them with your own story ideas, and if you've got a press release you want to put out, then it makes that a lot easier. You don't have to use expensive PR agencies and so on. So bear that in mind, because that's something that's an area that a lot of people don't realize about LinkedIn. You think, oh, prospecting is just about finding my end user, my end customer, but actually no, you also need to prospect by making these connections with people like journalists or people who can who are also connected to the same target audience that you are connected to. So that might be, for somebody like myself, a good connection on LinkedIn is an accountant, because an accountant is dealing with lots of other businesses, and for us, we want to speak to those businesses. So if we can create a good relationship with accountants on LinkedIn, then we can work through those accountants and reach out to their customers via them, and maybe set up joint ventures and all those sort of interesting arrangements where we both benefit. So there's lots of reasons why LinkedIn is great for prospecting, and that's why we're going to cover that in a bit more detail today. So let's start off with your profile. It's the first place you've got to look at. Now, when LinkedIn was started out years ago, I was one of the first. I say one of the first people to join in. I think my sort of registration number was 100,000 and something. So I was one of the early adopters, you might say, and it was very much then seen as an online kind of CV place where you could basically create your CV or your resume online for future employers. It wasn't really seen as a way for people to prospect and find customers, but that's changed completely now, and your profile on your LinkedIn profile is a lot more it has a lot more depth to it than a traditional kind of 2-page CV. There's huge amounts of content that you could put on to your profile, and you can really make it your kind of central hub for your personal kind of expertise, if you like. So think of it as beyond a standard kind of CV. This is your platform to shine and to show off and prove to your prospects how fantastic you are at what you do. So, and there's a few bits of interesting statistics there, such as adding a photo makes you 14 times more likely to be found, and 13 more times likely to be found when you add your skills as well. So one of the things that I see on a lot of LinkedIn profiles is lack of a clear and professional looking photo. Now, this is a professional platform, and you're trying to attract your target customers, your best customers. So, you know, why would you put a photo of yourself at a birthday party, or you know, a photo of yourself sunning yourself at the beach or something like that? This is a professional platform, so get a professional photo done. I'm a big advocate of professional photos. I think if you try and take one with your iPhone, or your partner takes one, or somebody takes one with their camera, it's never going to look like a professional photo. And it doesn't have to be a really cheesy photo. I mean, the ones that I had taken a couple of years ago that I use on all my profiles now, you know, it was taken by a professional photographer, but in a really nice way. It was done outside, so I had natural lighting, but you know, it was done professionally, and you can tell when you look at the profile shots that I use. And I have 2 or 3 that I use depending on the platform, but they're all taken at the same time. I was wearing the same clothes, I was in the same location, so you know, there's consistency across all my platforms, and that's including slightly different on Facebook. Facebook, I have used it on Facebook, but at the moment I've got it was actually a professional shot, but it's a slightly more it shows more my personality a bit more than perhaps my LinkedIn profile shot does. So it's really important to get your photo on there and to complete your profile as much as possible. And the interesting thing there is the point about blog posts. The blog posts on it was a year or 2 ago that LinkedIn opened up this new blog posting option. So that originally you could post short updates like you can on Facebook or even on Twitter, but they opened it up and allowed you to put a lot more content. So you can do a long read blog post on your LinkedIn profile. And I read somewhere that a business consultant who posted his first long post, and it reached 65,000 views. It got 10,000 shares, gained him 1,500 followers, because you can get followers on LinkedIn as well, and it secured him 3 new clients. And that was his first long blog post. Now, I've seen on our own, I haven't quite had that much success, but my blog posts get a much wider reach than they do on my or they can do on my blog site, on my website. So it's a really powerful platform to use, and if you can get into some consistency with it and post on a regular basis, then it will drive interest in you. It will get shared. It will get posted out, as long as the content is genuinely of interest to people. And that's the really important thing, is you're not just pushing out promotional articles that are literally just adverts. It has to have some interest. It has to have some value. People have to find some value in it, and also that helps then with people because the way that posts and content online gets seen by more people is they find it interesting, then they share it and they comment on it and they like it and so on, and that tells the algorithms in LinkedIn make that post more popular or give it more profile, because there's lots of people finding it interesting, therefore more people should find it interesting. So it sort of generates this kind of self-perpetuating interest, if you like, and that's when it becomes viral. So try and avoid the promotional blog posts and actually add some value, because that also, you know, it's all about giving yourself credibility and proving that you're an expert in your field. So we're going to go through some of the aspects of the LinkedIn profile that a lot of people don't update. They don't put enough information into it. They don't put enough time into it. I'm just going to take you through some of those by looking at my profile. Okay, so this is my profile, and the first thing you'll see is this banner across the top. This is the background area, and you can put a photo in there. You can put whatever you want, you know, a big image in there. But it's a great opportunity for you to just get across what you are, who you are, and what you do. Now, when you view this when you're in the edit mode, you don't see what it would look like to a visitor looking at your page. So you can see this the page, the wording I've put in there is cut off slightly. But if you use this button down here, view profile as, and you click that, then you can change the layout so you can see it as a new person coming into to your page. Ignore this white bar here because they won't see that, but you can see how the background I've used will be visible properly to anybody looking at my profile. So it's an opportunity just to really hammer home what you do and what your expertise is. So you might as well use it. You've got a huge amount of space there that you can take advantage of. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the sort of edit view version of it. Now, just working my way down my profile, the first thing you'll see is this area here, which is my name. But you'll notice that I've got digital marketing expert after my surname. Now, again, this is an area. This is something that people are catching on to, certainly in sort of my game, because after the surname, in the surname field in LinkedIn, there is all this space that you can use. So just to have, I've got I'm lucky, I've got a reasonably short surname, so I've got a little bit of space there to put in my my kind of number one subject that I want to be known for. In this case, being a digital marketing expert. Now, what happens there is if I then search when I do a search, then when it brings up the results, then you can see straight away what I am, what I do, what I'm sort of professing to be an expert in. So, for example, if I just search for accountant, and it brings back, let's change that to people. It brings back a list. Then you can see here how people who haven't done it, they've just got their first name and surname. If I search for digital marketing, you should see, hopefully, there we go. You can see how a few people now are catching on to this idea of adding their expertise in their name, and it just makes them stand out slightly. And also the actual phrase that you've used has been bold. It's been displayed in bold, and again that helps it stand out. So if you're scanning through looking for a particular type of person, then it just makes your profile stand out a bit more. So that's the first thing to do, and everyone can do that. Now, the little tip, if you're trying to do that, if you try and do it on your phone using the LinkedIn app, for some reason, the developers of the app haven't given as much room in the surname field as they do on the website. So that's a little bit frustrating, and that's something I found on a few of the aspects of LinkedIn, that you can do a little bit more on the website than you can on the app, mainly because they haven't given enough room in the fields for whatever reason. So that's the name. Then we come down to the headline area, and again, this headline, you've got an opportunity to sell yourself and what you do. and use it is what I can say. Just give it it's an opportunity for you to show how you add value to your target audience. And then you'll notice, you probably spotted this red email hunter. I'm going to come back to that shortly, but let's move down to the summary area. Again, summary is an opportunity for you to really prove to people looking at your profile what you do and how you add value. Now, it is an area that people look at. It's probably, after the first name and the headline, it probably is the next most read part of your profile. So spend a bit of time on it and tweak it. You can change this as you go, as you want over time. So change it. I've got a sort of explanation of what I do, why what I do matters to businesses, and then I have it's actually longer than it's showing on there, but I have a little bit more information there. I have an offer as well. So if people want to connect with me on LinkedIn, then they can ask for, I will do a 5-point personalized action plan for their social media marketing. It's something that doesn't take me very long to put together. If people really want it, I'm happy to do that. And I'll do that at no cost in exchange for a testimonial and the opportunity to chat to them on the phone. And I think that's fair enough. I've got contact details, and what I've also done then is I've linked to a page on our website where people can book a consultation with me online. So again, there's multiple opportunities for them to connect with me on there. Now, this is a trick that I only learned recently. In the projects section, if you add a project into here, then when you add a project, you actually get the opportunity to link to a URL on your website. So this is a way to just cancel that. This is a way to promote again what you do and link it to a particular page on your website. In my case, I link it to a page on our site where you can sign up to our community for free. We have an online community of businesses that we send marketing information out to on a regular basis. So I've just got that in there. Obviously, if you've got some projects that you want to show off, you can do that too. But it's an opportunity. If you think about trying to drive people to your website via your LinkedIn profile. So put the project detail, the actual detail of the project, the case study on your website, and then use this to link to it, rather than put everything onto LinkedIn. Okay, another little tip, skills and endorsements. Now, LinkedIn will let you add a huge number of skills on here, but you really want to show that you are an expert in your field. And if you've got 50 odd different skills, then people are going to see you as a bit too general. So I've cut mine down to 5 or 6. I think is probably appropriate if they're in my game. There's so many different things, so many different ways to call the same thing. Whether it's digital marketing or online marketing or social media marketing, it's essentially all the same thing. So that's quite tricky to kind of hone that down. And then there's aspects of that you should really also know about, like search engine optimization and pay-per-click and all that kind of thing. So again, trying to cut it down is quite hard. So I've cut mine down to what I think is sort of really valid. But for other businesses, other areas, it's not quite as wide as that. But they cut it down because it really does show that you are focused on a certain aspect of what you do, rather than have 50 odd different skills in your profile. Okay, so we've gone through the sort of main points of your profile, and it's really important when you're prospecting to make sure that your profile that you're showing people is set up as best as it can be, because this is where people, when you reach out to them, this is where they're going to come back to check you out and find out what you're about and what you're doing. So make sure you spend time, set aside an afternoon, well, not even an afternoon, just an hour, just to go through your profile and get it as good as it can possibly be. You don't want to be reaching out to people and trying to make these connections, and then they come to your profile and think, who's this guy? You've got an awful picture of him partying on a works do, and he hasn't filled in any of his specialties. He hasn't done any of his summary, so I don't know anything about him. So spend a bit of time on this and get it right. And if you can, schedule time, regular time to do long posts. They really do benefit. Will benefit you. Okay, so we're going to talk now about searching for your prospects and how you actually find the people to connect with. So on LinkedIn, you've probably seen, if you've used LinkedIn for any time, you've seen the bar across the top, and this is where you can search for people, you can search for jobs, you can search for companies, you can search for groups to join, and so on. So this is where you start. And again, I'm looking to connect with accountants. So let's put in accountant, sorry, and I'm just going to hit search, and that's going to come back. Now it seems to default to kind of an all setting. So I'm more interested in people. So I'm going to connect. I'm going to click on the people option, and that will bring back list of people. And I'm really only interested in my second degree connections, because if I've made a connection already, they're first degree, and then I can just work my way down here. So if I want to really filter down to a particular area, so for example, if I want to just specify UK or the US, let's use US for the moment, and then once I've picked the United States, then I can even filter that down even further to particular areas of the UK or US. And then, if I'm looking for people in a particular company, I can add that in there. I can choose people in certain industries. So maybe that I'm looking for accountants within a particular type of industry, and so on. So, I can really start to find people that I want to connect with. So it's important at this point to really know who you're trying to connect with and why you're connecting with them. So just looking through this list now, I can start to think about who I want to connect with. And so let's have a quick look at, say, for example, this connection here. Now I have the premium account on LinkedIn, so I can connect with anybody basically. So I can send a message to this lady if I want to. Now, if you haven't got the premium account, then you're sort of limited with that, which you obviously can't do. And when you go to click connect, then you get presented with this box, which is the one that you'll be familiar with, that says how do you know Tina? Now, if you've never made any connection with this contact, then you're kind of limited on how you can connect with them. Obviously, you can sort of lie and say, "Oh, I'm owner at Lobster," but they might not recognize that. But the best way is to show that the contact's email address. Now, you will have noticed that on my page I have this red Email Hunter button. Now, Email Hunter is a free app that you can install. If you've got Chrome, then you can install it. There's the icon in the Google Apps area. You have to go to, if you search for Email Hunter on Google, you'll find the website where you need to register. But you can install the plugin onto your Google Chrome, and it gives you this button here. Now, what this will do is, when you click it, it searches for the contact's email address, and it searches across the whole of the net to find that contact, and it brings back the best contact that it thinks matches the person that you're looking for. So there's that person's email address, and then I can use that then if I want to connect with her. I can use that in the option for other, and that will allow me then to connect. So it's a really good little tip. I'm a big fan of this email hunter. I think it's fantastic. It also works on websites as well. If you go onto a website, it will tell you all the email addresses for people who are listed against that domain name. So again, if you're trying to find people, and that's another tip actually, where you're prospecting on LinkedIn, is not just to use LinkedIn for searching, is to use Google as well. And go to a company page. If there's a particular company you want to connect with, use Email Hunter. It'll tell you the person that you want to speak to at that company, give you their email address, and then you can go onto LinkedIn and you can find them on there and connect and so on. So it's a great little tool that I think more and more people should really be using. So here's a few little tips about when you're connecting. It's not about quantity, it's about the quality of the people that you want to connect with. So again, you have to choose wisely, and the thing to bear in mind is, if you want to connect with somebody on LinkedIn, then then they're not always going to respond very quickly, but you're going to get a better response from people who take more time over their LinkedIn profile and who are more active on LinkedIn. So look for people with a good profile photo. So there's a nice one there. That's a very professional shot. Look for people who have a decent number of connections already, because they're going to be more likely to accept your connection request. So maybe over 100 or 150 connections. And also people who have filled out a good proportion of their profile. So if they've filled out their summary, and they've filled out their expertise, their skills, if they've got some endorsements, then they are going to be active on LinkedIn, and then you are likely to get a good response from them when you try and connect. So so there's a few, hopefully you've got some tips and ideas about how to connect with people on LinkedIn, or find people on LinkedIn. So the last part then really is to think about why you're connecting. Now, I've mentioned it already tonight, but it's really important to kind of bear in mind this idea that you can't just go in for the heavy sell. You can't just approach people and say, and I get this all the time, there's a couple of companies, local companies, that connect with me and then say, oh, we have this fantastic service, I'd love to give you a call and give you a demonstration of it. Straight away they're trying to sell me something. Now, I'm not interested. I'm not in the market to buy. I am interested in connecting with people for joint ventures, and I am interested in potentially seeing how we can benefit each other. So bear that in mind when you're connecting with LinkedIn. What can you bring to the person to help their business, or help them as well? So one of the approaches that we're taking, or starting to take now, is to connect with accountants, as I've already mentioned, because they have a database of businesses that could benefit us. But we can benefit the accountants by providing them with marketing help and advice. We can help them improve their relationship with their customers by helping them educate their customers in how they should market themselves as well. So when I'm contacting accountants on LinkedIn, I'm going to be contacting them and saying, look, I would love to just chat to you about how we can help each other, how I can help you to improve your relationships with your customers, how you can add value to your customers by giving us access through you to your customer base. So build relationships. Don't go in for the sell. That will come. Have a strategy. Set aside time to use LinkedIn. You've got to be disciplined with it. You've got to be consistent, especially if you're going to make use of the fantastic blog posting option. If you want to post long content, it takes time. and if you're not used to writing regularly, then that also takes time to get into the habit of being able to write, and to put your thoughts together and do the research that you need. So set time aside, and if you think LinkedIn is a platform that will benefit you, then you've got to invest the time in it. So think about how you're going to connect with people on LinkedIn before you start connecting. So I have an offer at the moment. We've launched our Lobster Tasters. These are ways for you to trial our services for no fee for a month. And the first one we are trialing or tasting is our Social Media Management Pro package. It's normally, off the top of my head, I think it's £185 a month. I can't remember. But you can try it for no cost for a month in May. We're not going to give, there's no setup fee, there's no commitment. You can cancel it after a month. On the page that you're looking at below this screen, there is a link to our sign-up form. If you click that, just fill in the basic details. I'll get back to you with some further questions, and we'll take it from there. And you can trial our social media management package for a month. Now, the social media management, all our packages, we focus very much on follower growth. So it's about putting content out onto your Twitter account that is valuable to the people who follow you, but we also actively seek out people to connect with. So we like their posts and we follow them for you on Twitter. That takes a lot of the sort of heavy lifting out of what you would normally do manually. So we do all that for you. We schedule posts and create 30 original posts that would then go a bit longer than the sort of traditional tweet. So they tend to go out on things like Facebook and LinkedIn. And that helps you then to sort of prove your expertise and drive some thought leadership. And then we bring that all together in our social media management system, and you can get access to that, so you can see how your profiles are growing, you can see how your follower numbers are growing, and you can run reports off there. You can set up automated responders as well, so if people follow you, you can say thank you and all this kind of stuff. So it's a fantastic service, fantastic system, and you can trial that completely free for a month with no commitment, no setup fee, and so on. And if you love it, then you can carry it on. If you don't, you can finish. That's entirely up to you. So if you're interested, there's a button on the page below this video. Click on that, fill in your details, and that'd be great. I look forward to talking to you about that. I hope you've enjoyed this evening. I've enjoyed giving it. I think LinkedIn is a fantastic platform, and it's one that I really need to spend a lot more time on as well. There isn't enough time in a day for me to spend on all the social media platforms, but I do think LinkedIn is a fantastic package, especially for B2B businesses like ours. So, let's make use of it. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. And I look forward to seeing you at the next webinar in a week or so, or 2 weeks time. There we go. Thank you very much.